Hi, it's Jen DeTracy, and this is episode 16 of My Messy House because MS is raw and it's real. So we got to deal with the real and the raw. All right, so today, Random Thought is talking about capacity. And this is kind of interesting because it's actually physical capacity I'm going to talk about here. So one of the things that happened to me after being diagnosed is I noticed that I started to develop asthma. Now that asthma I had when I was a little kid. I had it when I was 6 years old. I had to be hospitalized for it because I was living in England at the time. Normally most of my life I've lived in Canada. At this time I was living in England, and the coal that was heating the house that I lived in and the dampness and some personal stress that I had in my life, I think precipitated that, right? So, but as I moved back to Canada, and over time I noticed that the only time I had asthma when it was really damp and I was out running. That is when I could run before I was diagnosed or dealing with the impact of the MS in my life. So I notice sometimes sort of around relapses or the first and only time I ever took major steroids that I end up having this asthma. And it was quite upsetting to me because it was quite predominant. And it really freaked me out a little bit in the beginning. And I thought, well, is there anything I can do about this, right? You know, I talked to doctors about it. They're like, well, I don't know how that's related. But, you know, first of all, I think I want to say this is kind of like I'm off on a tangent here, so forgive me. You know, we got to trust ourselves and our own bodies. You know, we live in them. We know what they're like. They are our house, right? This is our house. The messiness is up here, but we have, you know, the physical body of the house as well. And we know when something's different. Whether we know if it's MS related or not, when we're diagnosed, everything seems like, oh my God, everything is MS related. And truthfully, it's hard to know if it is or not, and maybe it doesn't matter. The fact is that I believe that I've become way more conscious of my body as I have gained this awareness around what's happening, because I'm more astute to things as they arise around my health, because I know that I might have to deal with them in a different way, like not be able to show up to a client meeting, even if it's virtual and online, or cancel plans or whatever that might be. So I'm very consciously aware of what's happening in my body on a regular basis. So I was talking to my brother Sean, who is really into scuba diving. And one of the things that he said is that he has built up his capacity of his breath through scuba diving. So, and he would go into the pool because he had to work on the capacity of his breath and do it. And he had like a mouth thing that he could use. And I thought, well, maybe I'll buy one of those and try them out. But what I first started to do, because I love swimming, as you probably already know if you watch any of these other videos. And I thought, I'm just going to try, when I swim in the pool, I'm going to go under the water and I'm going to swim for as long as I can with one breath. So I take a deep breath in, and hopefully no water coming in while I was doing that. Otherwise this wouldn't work. So take a deep breath in, and I would swim for as long as I could. And I started to work on building up my lung capacity. And the amazing thing happened is that all of a sudden my capacity, not instantly, but over a period of time, in less than a year, my lung capacity was so much better, and I don't experience asthma anymore. Now, this is the power of this is in the personal awareness and discovery, right? It's about being aware in your own body and playing around with things to come up with solutions yourself, not from a doctor, not online, but your own personal situation. Well, I guess, you know, I gained this awareness from my brother. So there's a source outside of ourselves, whether we're reading about something or talking to someone. But having that openness that there could potentially be a solution is a really cool thing. And so that's, you know, going back to the messy house, I had an openness to trying to solve this issue. There wasn't a guarantee that it would work out or not. And fortunately it did, and I'm grateful for that. But what it did was it kind of reshaped my perspective on my capacity to be proactive and come up with strategies and around solving problems myself with my own body. And I think that's going to be very empowering. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have a story that you'd like to share, comments you want to share, please share those below. I'd love to hear them. I want to celebrate with you on this journey that we're on together, the journey of living with MS and trying to tame our messy houses that exists in our mind and how that all plays out. So share your story, and this is a wrap on this episode of My Messy House, because MS is raw and real. I'm Jen DeTracy. See you soon.